Welcome to the Clinical Cookout.
Hey now, it's your Auntie Ashley.
What's up? It's your girl, Auntie Shug.
Hey, it's your girl, Auntie Quiche.
Hey y'all, it's Auntie Amber.
This podcast is for educational purposes only. We are qualified clinicians who will cover various topics on mental health and will sometimes provide community resources. We are not being paid by any organization for our content, and any information we provide is general and pertains to our own personal experiences. We do not provide psychotherapy, diagnoses, or treatment recommendations on air. Any concerns related to your individual mental health should be directed to your medical and mental health professionals. We are not responsible for others' decisions or the subsequent consequences.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Clinical Cookout. This is part 2 of our Teacher Appreciation Week, and we have a very special guest on today. Her name is Candace. She is my bestie, so I'm going to pull her on and let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Candace. Nice to meet you all. I am currently the Associate Dean at a middle school in Northern Virginia. Basically what Associate Dean means is I do about 50% admin, 50% teaching. So I teach in the middle school, and then I help with the discipline side of the things that go on in our middle school. I've been in education now for like 10, 11 years, in a mix of public schools, international schools, and now in a private school in the DC area.
All right, you got a lot of experience.
A long time. I've tried to leave at least once or twice. So
yeah, so you're doing, you said part-time teaching and part-time like admin stuff? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's an interesting role. How do you navigate that? You're working between the students, administration, and then you have your own duties.
Yeah, it's been interesting to have the same students in trouble as the students that I have to turn around and teach in class, and trying to balance that those relationships it's been new. I think it all comes down to like being fair and consistent, as most things do with preteens, but it's been a journey, but it's been a good challenge.
What's the demographic that you see most like in your school? Did you already say it?
No, so my school is probably about 70% white and then 30% non-white. The largest majority of non-white are Black kids, and it's about 20% at our middle school.
What about the demographics of the teachers?
Yeah, our teacher balance is not the same as our student balance yet. This year is the best year. We just hired this school year like 2 or 3 new faculty of color. And we have 2 Black women that are admin, 1 white woman, 1 white man. So like in the admin level, we have the majority. And then teacher-wise, it's still, I would say, 80 to 85% white teachers.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the kicker for me. It's like you get a majority Black or a lot of Black kids in school, but you can't find the Black teachers.
Yeah.
Especially Black men.
Yeah, we actually right now we have 5 Black men on our campus. Not all of them are teachers, but we have 5 Black men on our campus. So we literally, the middle school, so our school is divided into elementary, middle, and high, and the middle school has the most faculty of color than any of the divisions, which is really cool.
My question is, being in the administrative role side and being a Black woman, and being a part of DEI, is that something that is more celebrated, and maybe your peers are understanding of how important it is to have Black administrators or teachers, or do you get pushback on that? I'd like to know your perspective.
Yeah. I would say any pushback that we get is microaggressive pushback, like people that don't think that they're pushing back because of race, but might be. One of the pros of my school is it's pretty it's in a progressive area, right? The DC area is pretty progressive, so no one would want to be the white person that wasn't down for the causes. Like you wouldn't vocalize that if you weren't. Absolutely not. So the pushback is more underhanded when there is pushback, like maybe people just not showing up for the DEI meeting and saying they scheduled an appointment or have to coach or whatever. It's stuff like that that's not as it's not blatant.
I have a question because you mentioned, you worked in public school, international, and private. Do you see like comparing and contrasting, do you see a difference or similarities between particularly Black students in those three different types of spaces and their behaviors?
Yeah, I mean, like the Black kids at my current school are constantly code switching. It is not always a safe place to be themselves for them. Like that's just the reality of being in a predominantly white space when that's not you. And with people like and again, like 12-year-olds are ignorant about so many things in general. So then you add like race to that, or like a lot of our Black kids live in Maryland, not in Virginia, and so they have to get on a bus for an hour to get to school. So a white kid will say, have a birthday party, and the Black kid's like, my parents aren't going to drive me an hour for a birthday party on we've got other stuff to do. So the biggest difference I see is that like the ability to socialize in the same space where you go to school is really different for the Black kids at my school. A lot of them, not all, but a lot. And the like need to code switch when you're talking to adults who interpret normal Black behavior as disrespectful, or things like that. Like that, the code switching is massive. But one of the things that I love is we have an affinity space. So once a week or so, I will have a lunch. I'll hold a lunch, and it's like only students that identify as students of color can come. And so we just sit together. If they don't want to come, they don't come. But a lot of them do, and we just sit together and are together.
They don't perceive that as like
discriminatory.
I was just about to ask that.
Yeah.
Nobody pushes back on that.
Wait a minute.
I think I am sure there are people that do. It's like, so we have a over the whole school K through 12. There's a diversity coordinator, and this is something she put in place probably 7-8 years ago. And she has the language for it, right? Like we send a letter out to parents. This is a space. This is why it exists. They don't have to come to it. And we send this to everyone, Black parents, white parents, all of them. This space exists. Mm-hmm. This is why it exists. This is why it's important. This is why it aligns with our school mission. And that's it. Like the school mission says that we're going to see every kid as a child of God and like allow them to flourish and grow. And providing that space fits that mission. So like if parents push back, then they get shut down.
I'm wildly surprised at that. And the only reason why I'm wildly surprised at that is because number one, a lot of school boards and a lot of let's just say schools around the country have been infiltrated by some of these parents and by some of these school boards who are not allowing the DEI space to even exist or even happen, or at least writing in laws to take it away. So I'm surprised that is being like, we said this is what we're following, and that's that.
Yep.
Well, like, how did that? I don't know.
It's the beauty of a private school, right? Like you can get at it. You don't have to go here. And like and again, like we're not perfect at sending that message. There are other situations where that message is not clear, right? Race is not one of them anymore. I think it probably used to be, but like too much has happened in the world where you could say that this space isn't needed. Yeah, like one of the places that we're still growing a lot, and the kids that I worry about the most are the ones that are non-binary or anything like just any LGBT plus kids, right? Because we have not gotten as far as we have with race with that.
With the mission, like you with you saying that like each children is unique and they're a child of God. We have made more strides in the LGBTQ community than we have in the Black community, sadly, but we have. And like, how do the parents take that because some people are more willing to accept race than LGBTQ, and some people are more willing to accept LGBTQ instead of race. And then if you're Black and LGBTQ, then you just all types of messed up. How do the parents react to any of that? And I know it's a more you won't have to come here kind of mentality, but do they do you have a lot of strife with that?
We have the most strife with the gender related things, mainly because I think it's just like, at least in this area, it's like people, no one wants to, and I think this is true in most places, but no one wants to be seen as a racist. So like people don't typically push back too hard on those things. Like I like maybe 2 years ago in history, they were going to read Stamped from the Beginning, the young adult version, and there was maybe a couple parents that were like, are you also reading anything else alongside that, like to offer other narratives, right? So like that's how people say it, right? Where it's, they try and word it in a way that doesn't seem to them to come across as racist.
Okay, so Auntie Shug asked about the parents' perception of things. I'm more interested, especially because you're at a private school. Private schools are typically religiously affiliated. So that gender side of things, I'm really interested in how the staff and admin feel, like the higher ups in that school who probably have a certain belief system, and now the gender part of things pushes against their belief system. How is that being handled among the administration?
Yeah. So I want to again, so the school I work at is an Episcopal school, which is as liberal a Christian as you can get.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
is again the reason why I think it's like a sustainable place so far to work, is because like the Episcopal Church, the message from them about race or gender or all of that stuff is relatively liberal. Anyone can just fall back on that as like the argument of why this is okay, is because the Episcopal Church says it's okay. None of our admin, with the exception of one person, all of our admin have been in administration at our school for 15 years, actually 10 years or less. So none of them are the old guard, I guess you would say. So I would honestly say like I think the head of the school has done a good job of only hiring admin that are going to support what she sees as a vision, which is becoming more inclusive. The middle school now has a gender inclusive bathroom. Like it used to be like a faculty only bathroom and they changed it. One of the biggest struggles that we are dealing with right now, looking forward, is we still have some gendered classes. So like we gender math and science, because there's some research out there. And again, I think you could find research to support both sides of this argument, but there's research out there that says girls do better in math and science and feel more successful and feel like they can actually do math and science if they're not around boys. Like don't feel like they have to dumb themselves right down for boys. The gray area that you get into is like, what about a non-binary kid? So we have kids that do not identify as girls that are in girls' math classes. And that's something that we've got to figure out how to change, because that's not fair for them to be in a girls' math class and they're like, I'm not a girl though.
It sounds different.
I'm actually really shocked, but I do know
split.
I do know that the Episcopal denomination is very inclusive and liberal. Like they are denominations among Christian churches. They are the one that's like, nope, come on, we embrace everybody.
The only, and some people might not agree with me, but I think the main religious thing we do is they have chapel every week, which is, again, it's not a proselytizing. We've had rabbis come to chapel to talk. A lot of people, when they talk at chapel, give a non-religious message. It's just a message. And then all the kids take religion classes. I think they take 5 or 6 religion classes, but it's like the 6th grade religion classes is world religion. So they learn about all the different religions. They go visit a mosque, they go visit a temple as part of the class.
I absolutely love this. If I ever send any of my kids to private school, now I know to just look for it.
Just go Episcopal.
I love all of that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not a perfect place. Like, I don't want to make it sound like it's a perfect place, but the credit I give them is it's the longest I've stayed anywhere.
Yeah. Well, it also, like, it's interesting how the freedom that they have in private school to change things the way they want to change the rules. add gender inclusive bathrooms, make these special groups. But in public school, they don't have as much freedom to do those things. So you have, kids that are suffering or having a really, really hard time at school. And because of the rules, teachers can't by the rules. Some teachers bend the rules, but they can't really do anything to kind of help, the kids.
So I had the question about basically how much it costs to attend a private school. So I didn't know if you could kind of tell us something about those numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. So our school, as it stands, I think full tuition for the middle school is around $40K a year. And then 38-ish for the lower, and then like 42 maybe for the high.
$40,000. That's a whole year's income.
$40.
What?
Yeah, it's up there. You're paid for it for sure. It's not a gentle. It's college. It's more than college for a lot of people.
Well, no wonder y'all have the freedom to do what y'all want.
Yep.
What are these parents doing for a living is my question.
I ain't gonna be able to do it.
You know what they do.
Well, one thing you did say was the DC area, and the DMV area is the elite. So, especially it's Black Mecca, and that's probably why 30% of the school could be non-Black, because when we are in those areas, we don't have the regular jobs for us are the elite jobs. Yeah. So you might get somebody that works for the MTA or something like that, and making $100,000 a year, so they can afford it in that area. Now you bring something like that to Louisiana, and it's going to be a different story. So I think it's more so the area. But do you guys does the school offer for people who can't afford to send them kids to schools like that? Like, is there a lottery or curved tuition, or
There is no lottery, and there's technically no curved tuition. Everyone applies the same. Everyone pays the same, minus we do have a financial aid, and then endowments from alum. And then we have probably a handful of kids that are there on full scholarships that got that scholarship outside of our school. So we don't have any internal full scholarships, so at least not at the middle school. I don't know about the high school.
Is there a difference, that you've noticed, between the students that are on scholarship and those who pay for it, as far as maybe social difficulties or academic performance?
Well, I would say, and this is probably no kids will be watching this, so it's fine. The kids that I know which kids are on full scholarship. They're the full scholarship kids. They're my favorite. Because they have a different, honestly, a different level of drive and a different love of learning. It's just different. I don't even know how to fully quantify how much more they seem to love to learn and to be at school than the average kid. But they've just, they've had different experiences. They have different families. And what education means to them is just different.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about that. You saying the scholarship kids are your favorite. Well, oftentimes if you got a scholarship, you already put in a lot of work to get the scholarship. So you are all about hard work and academics and getting good grades. So that's a different level of drive, like you said. But those kids who are full pay and come from higher socioeconomic statuses, I mean, even the children of color who come from that is a privilege. So for them, it's this is nothing special that I'm here. I'm just at school. My parents can afford it, and I'm just here. Yeah. And that's it. Since we get it, the kids of privilege usually be a little bit snobby and a little bit hard. I mean, we understand.
They're entitled.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why'd you give me that seat?
Whoa.
You earned that seat. That conversation.
Immediate. Just
I just hold my hands back.
I really appreciate you giving at least me this different perspective, because I had a whole different perspective of private schools, and I didn't think something like that could even exist, or teachers, administrators, or just school staff would be even interested in doing anything that would be more inclusive that looked like that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you giving me some sort of like different perspective of what it can look like and how we can is it inclusivity
Yes.
can actually exist if people make a conscious choice to include everybody. And so I appreciate that perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah. My experience with private schools are only Catholic private schools, which is a world different. That is totally different. Going off of Catholic private schools, you have one way of looking at private schools. You hear about another denomination's private schools, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I went to private school through like 3rd grade, and it was like a little Baptist school, and I had to wear long sleeves and skirts to my ankles, and they still did. They didn't hit us, but we still had like physical discipline. Like it was so that was my like you said, like my perspective of private schools was completely different based on my experience until I came to the one that I'm at.
To your ankles though?
Yeah, to the ankles.
So it's like, hell no.
Amber face looked more shocked when she said we were still doing physical discipline. It's still
Look, that
It was like
too.
this. You'd have
You
to
ain't touching me.
It was
still
no,
that.
It was no hands on. You would get like you would have you'd be like required to do this for 15 minutes instead of recess.
So
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So they're doing torture tactics. Okay.
I mean, that would
Most people can use their arm, their bat wings gone anyway.
Oh my
A
God.
second grade
It is still schools that implement paddling. It's a school in Louisiana that's
It
still
is.
that
And
I
all of
know.
us in
that my
Louisiana
daughter-
still paddle.
Yep, they still paddle.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna paddle me. I've been to run up out that school if I got in trouble. No, thank you. I'm good.
Wow. I do like that's why I was laughing at that because I mean people think everything is super wrong discipline these days, but they are still paddling, folks.
They are. I think at that school, my parents had to either sign a waiver giving them permission or not, and they said no.
Yeah.
We'll do it. Call me. I'll come if they need to get slapped.
Good on your parents. I did the same thing with my daughter. I said, no, you won't. Just give me a call. I'll pick her up or whatever needs to happen.
Oh, I thought you told them, yeah.
No, I didn't tell that school. Yeah, you can't. That wasn't hitting. First of all, the principal was a white man, and a white man wasn't about to paddle my black daughter.
No.
Absolutely not.
There's that.
Well, do you have any last comments or anything to share before we close out, Candace?
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe just like I will add that because of all of the things that I think Black teachers in our school try and do to make sure that kids feel all of these things. Like there is like, and again, like I was saying, it's not perfect. There is a burden on the Black teachers that is different than the burden on the white teachers. To be mom, to be auntie, to be sister, to be hard, to be soft, to be all of those things. A teacher walked by me in the hallway one day, and I was sitting on the floor with a Black girl whose head was in my lap and she was crying. And she looked at me like it wasn't acceptable, right? But of course, for me and that girl, that was different. So I think mental health wise, like it is not, there are spaces, but it is not perfect. It is not by any means perfect. And like the support that the teachers need in order to do those things for the students is also not perfect. So I think about that. I really appreciate how many other Black teachers there are in my school now, because my first year, I felt like I was doing that almost by myself, like with 2 or 3 other people. And being able to like spread the love out, the need for love out has been really good. So I appreciate all of those other Black teachers that have to do that. And because it is a burden that that white teachers don't experience.
All right. Well, that was awesome. And we appreciate all of the teachers for everything that they do. Because you guys you put on so many caps every day, all day long. Your goal is to educate the kids, but you do so much more than that. So we appreciate that. And Auntie Shug, you want to take us out?
First of all, we do appreciate you. Like Auntie Amber said, I'm going to just go ahead and mirror that. We do appreciate all the teachers and everything that you do. But we still want to know right now what y'all about to do.
You're so stupid. All right.